The history of Ashley County, focusing in on the Crossett Company. The role of forestry. Forestry has played a crucial role in the development and success of Crossett and the Crossett Lumber Company. The abundant timber resources in the region provided the foundation for the company's operations and contributed to the economic growth of the area. Sustainable forestry practices were essential to ensure the long-term viability of these resources and to promote environmental stewardship. Key figures: Russell Reynolds and the influence of Yale. Russell Reynolds was a key figure in the establishment and development of the Crossett Experimental Forest. His dedication to forestry research and his innovative approaches to forest management have had a lasting impact on the field. Reynolds' work was influenced by the expertise of Yale professor Herman Haupt Chapman, who collaborated with the Crossett Lumber Company to advance forest management practices. Sustainable forestry practices. The Crossett Lumber Company was committed to sustainable forestry practices from its early years. The company recognized the importance of managing the forest resources responsibly to ensure their long-term availability. This involved implementing practices such as selective cutting, thinning, and controlled burning to promote the growth of healthy, productive forests. In 1926, the company hired a Yale graduate named W.K. Williams to help it begin a program of sustained forestry based on practices in Germany. This program aimed to balance the extraction of timber with the preservation of the forest ecosystem. The company also benefited from the expertise of Yale professor Herman Haupt Chapman, who provided guidance on sustainable forestry practices. The Crossett Experimental Forest. In 1933, the U.S. Forest Service established the Crossett Experimental Forest, which became a hub for scientific research in areas such as wildlife, hydrology, soils, and silviculture. The forest was one of the first experimental tracts in the South and played a significant role in advancing forestry research and management practices. The primary objective of the Crossett Experimental Forest was to develop silvicultural principles and practices to manage the cutover second-growth loblolly shortleaf stands typical of the area. The research conducted at the forest provided valuable insights into sustainable forest management and contributed to the overall success of the Crossett Lumber Company. Research and innovations. The research efforts at the Crossett Experimental Forest focused on various aspects of forest management, including improvement cutting, chemical wood production, and the development of a market for pulpwood. These studies aim to enhance the quality and productivity of the forest stands and to promote sustainable practices. One of the significant research efforts was the pulpwood thinning study, which aimed to determine the effects of thinning on the growth and yield of pine stands. The study found that thinning could significantly increase the growth rate of the remaining trees, leading to higher yields of both pulpwood and sawtimber. This research provided valuable insights into the benefits of thinning and helped promote its adoption as a standard forest management practice. Another notable innovation was the introduction of tractors for skidding logs. The tractor skidding study demonstrated that tractors could be more efficient and cost-effective than traditional methods of skidding logs with horses or mules. This innovation helped improve the efficiency of logging operations and reduced the physical labor required for skidding. The impact of forestry research. The research conducted at the Crossett Experimental Forest has had a lasting impact on forest management practices. The findings from various studies have contributed to the development of sustainable forestry practices that balance the extraction of timber with the preservation of the forest ecosystem. The forest has generated hundreds of scientific publications, making it an internationally known example of high-quality, long-term forestry research. The contributions of key figures like Russell Reynolds and the influence of Yale have played a significant role in advancing forestry research and management practices. Their dedication to sustainable practices and environmental stewardship has ensured the long-term viability of the region's forests and set a standard for future generations. Conclusion, 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 conclusion. The role of forestry in the development and success of Crossett and the Crossett Lumber Company cannot be overstated. The commitment to sustainable practices and the establishment of the Crossett Experimental Forest have left a lasting legacy in the field of forestry. The research and innovations that emerged from these efforts have contributed to the advancement of modern forestry and have ensured the long-term viability of the region's forest resources.